Hello, this is Julie Harland, and I will be your instructor for Math 64 this semester. And this is a little introduction to the class and all the information you need to know. Basically, all the information is on the website that I send you. This is called the homepage for our class. And up at the top, you see Harland 73025. This is a course ID you will need to enroll in the online materials. All right, so let's go over this. First of all, don't buy anything until you read all the information about registering in my math lab. I explain about the book and what my math lab is, etc. Also, if you are a former student, keep in mind that I've changed a lot of things from previous semesters, so don't assume anything at all is the same and make sure you read through the syllabus carefully. The syllabus is all these links on the left. All right, so first of all, I've got 3 sections of this class. I have my phone number here, 760-757-2121, extension 6387. I'm rarely in my office because it's at Oceanside and I teach at San Elijo and off campus most of the time. So you'll usually get my voicemail. My email is jharland@miracosta.edu, and my office hours are at San Elijo Monday, Wednesday in classroom 304 from 2:20 to 2:50 p.m. and then online for the next half hour. But you can always email or call me or try to set up another time for an appointment if you want to see me in person. I am online a lot of the time and I get back to my students right away usually, unless I'm in meetings or at a conference, etc. And in fact, I put down that I'll respond certainly within 24 to 48 hours, unless it's, let's say, a holiday weekend and I'm, not around, etc. So if you don't hear back from me within, within 48 hours, that means I did not get the email, it got lost somewhere. So definitely write back. Also, if I write you, please reply to me within 24 to 48 hours as well. Okay, so those are just some basics. I am committed to having regular contact with you. I will be sending out weekly emails. That'll be at least once a week. And those are really copied announcements from what will be in the online materials. So check your announcements in case an email gets lost and doesn't make it to your inbox. I will be monitoring your attendance and your progress, and you are required to attend this class by logging in online regularly and keeping up with all due dates. So let's go over to see what the attendance link says. So if I click on this, is read attendance link. First of all, keep in mind that the class is not completely online. You will have to come to campus several times during the semester to take quizzes and tests in the Math Learning Center. You have to come during their hours of operation and they're proctored. But here are the online attendance requirements. If you're on campus, of course, you have to come to class to stay in the class. Same thing here. You can't just take off for a week and, not do any work. In fact, I have assignments due online pretty much every day or almost every day the first couple of weeks. And then there's usually assignments 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's up to you to keep on top of the due dates, submit your work on time. You can always work ahead of the due dates. So for instance, if you don't want to log in Monday through Friday, you can log in during the weekend and do all the work that is due the coming week. You don't want to get behind, you have to work ahead if that's what you want to do. And you are expected to put in at least 12 hours a week. That's 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 times per week. Actually, if you're doing 3 times a week, that would be 4 hours a day, right? That's a lot. So it's better to spread it out. Okay, let's go back to the home page again and scroll down, see what else is here. So we talked about the required on-campus meetings. All the links to the left make up the syllabus. The class is not self-paced. You do need to follow the due dates. You can work ahead, but usually assignments are due Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we will have a proctored paper and pencil test, which will be the midterm and the final exam. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do to get started here is make sure you register in My Math Lab. This must be done by the first day of class, and you are required to turn in 2 assignments on the first day of class, Monday, August 19th, or I will be dropping you because I have a wait list. So make sure you do log on. If you've already registered in My Math Lab, then you using a different course ID for this book that we use, then you won't have to pay again. Otherwise, you will have to pay for it. But there is a way of delaying payment if you can't do it by the first day of class. So there's no excuse not to do this by the first day of class, even if you can't pay on that day. So how are we going to register in My Math Lab? You just click this link right here, and that will get us to, let's see, let's register. Click here to register. Required materials. Here's all the information I just told you, but here's something very important. When you register in My Math Lab, you must use the same last name that is registered in SURF. However you registered at MiraCosta, that same last name needs to be used in My Math Lab, otherwise they will not recognize you. So if you are registered in SURF as Jones and you got married and your new name is Smith, register as Jones. Otherwise I wouldn't know who Smith was. I wouldn't recognize that as somebody who's enrolled at MiraCosta. So make sure you use that last name. Also make sure you read everything on this page before you purchase anything, because the bookstore isn't quite accurately listing what I recommend. Maybe they will by the time you watch this video. There's only one thing you absolutely must buy, and that is My Math Lab. So either you have an account, and in that case you won't have to buy it again, or if you don't, you will have to pay for that. That contains the online electronic version of the text, so you do not need to buy a regular textbook. On the other hand, I personally like using a regular textbook, so if you would like to have a regular book so you could sit on the couch and read it, or be on the train or in the car, take it with you on the plane, etc., it's nice to leaf through a regular textbook as opposed to have to log in to read the text. But that's totally up to you. It does cost more if you want to have a regular book to go along with it. You will also need a scientific calculator, and I recommend the TI-30XS. I think it's under 20 bucks, and I recommend that one because that's what the Math Learning Center uses as well. But any scientific calculator, not your cell phone, is okay. Okay, so you must have My Math Lab, or you can have a bundle. So here we go. How are you going to log into the class? Well, to purchase it or to log in, you're going to go to this page right here, and I think I have it. I think this is where you end up. So if you have do not already have this book, okay, then here's the page you want to go to on the Pearson site, and there's two possibilities. This one that you see right here is the package, and it costs $207.33, and they will ship it to you, so you'll have to wait for it. So if you do this option, then you're going to have to make sure you go on to My Math Lab and register using temporary access, because you do need to start the class right away. The other option is to simply use the digital choice, and the first one here, it just says My Math Lab and Mastering. This is all you need. That's $91. Okay, so if you just press by access, let's go ahead and do that. Press by access, what would happen? There's a little license agreement you're supposed to read. You'll press accept. And let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I told you the price is $91, and then you would put in the course ID. All right, so let's go back. What was our course ID? Well, I have it right on the top of all the pages. It's Harland 73025. So if I copy that, and over here in the course ID, I would put that in here. And then it asks me if I have a Pearson account or not. If you already have a Pearson account, if you've ever used My Math Lab, press yes. You do not want to make a new account, otherwise press no. And then from here, so let's say yes, I happen to have, I'm going to put no. All right, so then you would have to create a login name and create a password and retype your password, and then from there you would just follow the directions to pay for it or use temporary access. Okay, so that's what will happen. So let's go back to this information. So make sure you read all this about the required materials. Now, how about the basic info for the class? You could click this link that says basic info. Since you're not coming to class, you will have to do a lot more reading. You'll have to read my emails and announcements posted in my math lab. I'll show you my math lab in a minute. You have to follow the attendance policy, so you'll have to be online turning in work, especially the first day of class and the first 2 weeks of class. It's important to keep up on those assignments. Then there are quizzes. Those are password protected. They're online, but you have to do them in the Math Learning Center. And if you click on quiz info here, you're going to get all the information about the quizzes. You are also required to watch and copy the contents of Your MathCal YouTube videos. I have made videos for each section of the book to help you with the homework. What you need to do is watch and copy those on a piece of paper, and you'll be turning those into you'll having them be checked by the Math Learning Center. And that notebook will be worth 5% of your grade, so it's a requirement. You'll have to do homework online in my math lab, and that should always be started a few days before the due date. You have to start by reading the book, watching my videos, and then opening up the homework and do it. Most of the homework shouldn't take more than about an hour if you're prepared for it. And then we've got the midterm and the final, which are paper and pencil tests. Again, you'll go to test info. You will have to make appointments here in the MLC. So let's see if I click on the MLC and you're at the Math Learning Center. Let me make this bigger. I don't know if it'll show up well enough, but it says schedule your testing appointment online. So you pick a campus. So let's say you're going to pick the Oceanside campus. You would go here and you enter your student ID and your birth date, and then you'll continue and be able to make an appointment that works best for you. Now, you're going to have to use the link I gave you. All right, let's see. Let's go back. Get rid of this. Make sure you use the link I give you. It is not in the proctoring center. So if you just look up testing center on the regular MiraCosta website, you'll end up at the wrong place. You need to be in the Math Learning Center link. Okay, so that's the basic info here. All right, so let's just go through a few more things. Due dates. All of the due dates are shown here except the homework. All right, so the deadlines to take the quizzes. Now, what's a deadline? That means that's the last day you can take it. You could take it anytime you want up until that date, and you can take it twice up until that date. So if you take it once, you don't like your score, you can go back and take it again. So these are final deadlines, and after the deadline, you can't take it. All right, we also have deadlines for taking the midterm and the final exam. You can't take those anytime throughout the semester, but you'll have about a week's time in which to take it at a time that's convenient for you, because those are paper pencil tests, and I don't send those over to the Math Learning Center until about a week before the due date. All right, so the rest of the assignments, which is the regular homework assignments, are in my math lab. So how would you go to my math lab? Over here is the my math lab link, and you want to make sure that you go ahead and bookmark this on your computer. Oh, let's see, I had it, here we go. Once you log in, this is where you go. You'll get to the dashboard, and there might be announcements. I haven't made any announcements yet. Here's says read this, the important info. This gives you, if you forget how to get back to my homepage, here's our homepage, okay? Here's my MathGal videos, and here's the Math Learning Center homepage, and here's how to get free tutoring, etc. How about the book? Here's the book. The entire book is online. So over here you see, let's say, Chapter 1. You could click on Chapter 1. You could go to, let's say, Section 1.4. You could watch a video presentation. Now, these are not required. This is a video presentation by the author of the book. So let's say I wanted to see the video presentation. You click on this and press play, begin lecture, and this is the actual author of the book, and she gives a lecture. It looks like this one is about 26 minutes, and you could watch and listen to that, and that's more an overview of the whole section. You can go to the multimedia e-text. This, instead of just the book, it's the book with links in it. And this is what this looks like. Have to be patient sometimes when you first open these links. All right, so this is the actual book and 1.4, and here's how you could read it online. You just start reading, etc., and scroll through it. But you'll see there's some links over here, like a video example, so you could click on one of those, and then you would see a presentation, for instance. So that's why it's called a multimedia textbook. All right, I'm going to close that. Okay, so let's see, where were we? Here we are on. So that's how you get to the ebook. That's how you read the book. Do homework. Now, after you've read the book, after you've watched my videos, that's when you go to the do homework link. And you won't be able to start on all of the homework until you do the syllabus questions quiz. These little flags means there's a prerequisite. You have to get at least 70% on the syllabus. So let's say I wanted to take that syllabus quiz. And there's 20 questions, and they're pretty easy questions. So let's go to question 1. So let's see if I can make this any bigger. Guess not. What it says is students use a non-graphing scientific calculator in this course. And then there's 3 choices. A, yes, but students must still show all steps and use algebra on all problems on tests. B, yes, and the recommended calculator, which will be available to use for the midterm, is the TI-30XS. Or C, both of the above are true. Now in this case, I'm going to put C, both of the above are true, and I click final check, and it says good job, I just got a point for that problem. Let's skip to number 8, see what that is. It's your responsible to keep up to date on course happenings, including homework, notebook, and quiz due dates, testing window dates, and other important info. According to the syllabus, what are the methods that you should use to keep up to date? The choices are A, check email daily, B, check announcements daily in My Math Lab, and C, read all links on the homepage, and D, all of the above. Oh, okay, I have an all of the above question again. See if I can find something more interesting. Let's see. Okay. Where and in what format must the quizzes be completed? 1. Okay, so A, online in My Math Lab at the Math Learning Center, online in My Math Lab anywhere, and C, this is a paper and pencil exam taken in the Math Learning Center at Oceanside. So I'm going to pick online in My Math Lab anywhere. That's B. And I'll put final check, and it says, sorry, that's not correct. The correct answer was A. Your answer was B. So I put done, and I can go back to that question again and put try again. Check it out. And now you can get it right. Go back and press, oh, it's online at the Math Learning Center. Final check. See how easy it is to get 100% on this syllabus quiz. Okay, so I'm going to leave the page. And so later you will be doing homework the same way, except it doesn't tell you the answers. All right, when you're ready to take a quiz, do you want to take a quiz? I have these sample quizzes down here. You always want to try those first, practice quizzes. And then when you're ready to take the real quiz, you're going to have to go into the Math Learning Center to take those quizzes. Gradebook. It'll tell you what you've done. So notice in the gradebook here, it tells me that I got 3 out of 20 so far on my syllabus. That's 15% score as is. All right, let's go back to due dates, which is where we were, I think. And so those are where the homework due dates are, and that's how My Math Lab works. Okay, how about, let's see, the notebook. Oh, wait a minute, let's go to how to study. This is a separate page I made. It kind of gives you a good idea about how to study math in general, so you might want to check that out. And notebook info. All right, we've got 4 notebooks. The due dates are in the due date section, and it tells you what how many video notes you have to have for each notebook and where you get them. And that comes from this link to my page. All right, so you could click this link right here, or you can go over here where it says My Videos. Doesn't matter how you get there, and you will go directly to this website of mine that says by chapter. And let's say you are on chapter 2 and your homework is 2.5. So you would click on chapter 2, scroll down to 2.5, and there are 2 videos you have to watch for 2.5. So what you would do is click on these videos and you would copy what I write down as you're watching the video. Of course, what's nice is you can put me on pause and watch it later. And then you'll be turning these in. Now, by the way, this is my web page. And if you want to know a little bit more about me, you can go to Home. Here's my vision. Tells you things I love. Hey, I like to eat low carb. If you want to see, my family, whatever, all sorts of other things are on here. Absolutely not necessary, but that's where I have information about myself. All right, so here's where the math videos are in general. Let's say that you want to just review something else, like from arithmetic. You could search the site. Like, let's say you want to know something about fractions. You could just put in fractions, and you'll see a bunch of stuff about fractions. So I see fractions up here, and here's a bunch of videos I made about fractions. Let's say you forget how to add fractions with unlike denominators. Well, then you could click on that link, etc. So that's what my web page looks like. So the notebook is required. It's worth 5% of your grade. And let's see, if you scroll down, it explains how to organize it. Nothing except the video notes go in it. And at the very bottom, I have an example. So if you click on this at the very bottom, this is an example of what video notes would look like. So I have the videos organized as like 10v10. That's the name of the video. So that means chapter 10, video number 10. And I called it Square Roots and Radicals Part 4. And see, it takes a page. This is a student's notes, a real student in my class. This is their notes. It took about a page. And then here's the next video in chapter 10 called video 11, and it takes another page. And so that's how, at the very top of each page, you want to put what the video is, what the name is it is, and write out the notes by copying what I did. You can also go to the Math Learning Center and they'll show you an example. So make sure you read all about the notebook here. Okay, homework info and help. Can't remember if I already did this, but make sure you read all of this about the homework. Now, it tells you what to do first, second, etc. You have to turn homework in by the due date or you get half credit, except I make an exception the first 2 weeks only. All right, so whatever problems you don't get correct by the due date, you'll only get half credit if you get it correct after the due date. Quiz info. The due dates are in the due dates for all the quizzes are in the due dates link. You can use a scientific calculator on the quizzes. It's good to make an appointment if you want to make sure that you have a computer waiting for you. There are 4 quizzes. I do throw out the, do I throw out the lowest one? I can't remember. Only the highest score out of 2 attempts will count. And here's all the information about the quizzes. So make sure you read everything on, here it is, I knew I did it. So to allow for a low score or for one emergency during this semester, if you're unable to take a quiz, your lowest of the 4 quiz scores is dropped at the end of the semester. So only your 3 highest total quiz scores from the 3 of the 4 quizzes will count. Okay, I think we're almost done. I have some test reviews, just how to study for some tests, what problems you might do, etc. So I give you ideas how to study for the midterm and the final. This is how the grading works. You could click on this to understand how I grade and how you can compute your grade. And then we've got my videos, which these the extra links aren't the basic information of the class, but those are just links, so it's easy to go to my videos, to go to my math lab, to get help from my math lab. The SLOs, those are the student learning outcomes for our class. If you're a disabled student and you have those services, you could read about that here. Let me know about that as soon as possible. Important dates, those are the important dates at Maricosta College. Other resources, if you started this class and then you stopped, I think within a couple weeks, you can get a refund from my math lab, so you can check that out. And hopefully I'll have some frequently asked questions as they arise during the semester. I will put those there. Okay, so I hope this gives you a good introduction to the class. I think if you I've organized this way, so it's not. In other words, you can just click on the information you need for a certain time. You are required to log into my math lab regularly, especially the first 2 weeks of the semester, and turn in those assignments on time. We do have a wait list. And you need to show that you're attending. Otherwise, I need to drop students not showing attendance online anytime during the first couple of weeks of the semester. So that's really important. I love teaching. I love teaching algebra. I love algebra. I'm here for you anytime you need it. So please contact me if you have any questions at all. Make sure that you always state your first and last name in an email, which class you're in, because I have a few different classes. And always give me a phone number where I can call you, because a lot of times it's easier for me to call and just clarify things by talking to you on the phone. And give me some times you could be reached. I'm a night person, so a lot of times I'm up till 12, 1 in the morning. So let me know the latest that you want me to call you at night. I'm not an early morning person, so I will not be calling you early in the morning in general. And I look forward to meeting you if you'd like to come visit me in office hours or make an appointment sometime. And I hope you have a successful semester. The key ingredients is to set aside at least 12 hours a week without fail to this class. If you do that, you should be okay. So take care and have a great semester.